the Slow Crafting Podcast. My name's Nadine and I'm coming to you today from the northwest of England near Manchester. This is a podcast about slow living, slow crafting, trying to make a sustainable handmade wardrobe on a budget. As you can see, I'm in my very messy craft room today, and I've not been with you for a while because I've been a bit busy with random projects. Yes, the children had I'm just diving straight in there. You can tell it's been a while. The children had a Victorian day at school a few weeks ago now, and they needed Victorian outfits, and being the slightly competitive mum that I am, I decided to make them. Now, not only did I make them, I hand stitched the bits that I made. Luckily, the dresses for the girls, my eldest could wear a nightie that I'd made her sometime last year, I think. It's the black watch tartan one. Admittedly, it was short sleeved, which wasn't ideal, but we had it already, we used it. Now, my youngest daughter had a checked dress that had a slightly Victorian feel to it, in that it was long, but it wasn't quite long enough. So this was a dress that I originally got from a charity shop for my eldest daughter, and it's been passed down, but I just added a good 6 inches on the bottom to bring it sort of mid-calf length on her. Yeah. Now the fabric that I used, as you'll notice, it's got quite a few seams in it, was actually some offcuts from a dress that I'd shortened for my elder daughter last year, year before, to make a Coco Chanel costume for school. So very thrifty of me, I thought, and she absolutely loves it, this length, and has worn it to parties since. And I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, she was very happy with that. Now, as well as the dresses, I made them both white pinafores to go over the top. I used a fitted bed sheet that I'd found, a fitted white bed sheet, and I cut the elasticated bits off the corners and saved the elastic for the hats, but for the pinafores are both very similar, they're just slightly different sizes. So I will insert a picture of them both dressed up, so you'll get a better idea of how they looked. But yes, I made 2 pinafores, so it's basically an overdress rather than an apron as such. So I used my basic dress bodice pattern and made 2 different sizes, and then I cut 2 layers out because it was only really thin, and then used one to line the other. But for the skirt section, which was basically just 2 big rectangles, one per skirt, and I just seamed it up the back. I don't know if you're going to be able to see because it keeps blowing out. Yeah, and I just hemmed the bottom up once I got them to try it on. Yeah, it's the same dress pattern I use for all the nighties and things, but it worked really well. And it was it was a double fitted sheet, and I got the 2 pinafores out of it, and also 2 of the mop caps. I don't know if you're going to be able to see, it's been a bit crumpled up. I'll try it on for you. I know, it's much cuter on my children. But to make this, I basically cut an 18-inch wide circle, hemmed the edges all the way around, and then about 2.5 inches in, attached the elastic that I'd saved from the corners of the fitted sheet, so you can see it's actually in 2 bits. And rather than sew it on all the way around, I was lazy and just sewed it on probably about 8 different places on each strip, and they both had those, which was very, very cute. And then the final piece of their outfit, I made them each a wraparound shawl, so using up some random stash acrylic, because I know that they will want to wear these fancy dress outfits and to death basically, and we'll slop things up with them. I appreciate that from a sustainability point of view, acrylic is not brilliant. However, it was stash, and also my children are grubby little urchins. I need something that I could put in the washing machine. So here we go. This is for the eldest. So I basically did an elongated triangle, so increasing 6 stitches every 2 rows, 4 on the right side, 2 on the wrong side, although it's all garter stitch, so there's no real wrong side. And then I did sort of left 3 stitches on the last round at each end, and then just basically knitted a tie in garter stitch so that they can, it's not going to fit as well on me because obviously I'm a lot bigger than they are, but wrapped around the body and tied around the back so it kept the shoulders warm. And that's the one that I made for the eldest daughter. And this is the one that I made for my youngest daughter. So it's the same style basically, with the tie straps and elongated triangle, but for this one I fringed it as well. Oh, there's a long bit there. Now, as you can see, one of them is fringed, the other one is not. Can you tell which one I did first? This took absolutely forever to do the fringing. I do love it, but oh my word, it took such a long time, because basically it was just cutting lengths of yarn and then looping it through and through itself using a crochet hook all around the edge. But, oh, the cutting took forever, the looping took forever, and then the trimming it so it was mostly all the same length. I didn't bother doing. It's a fancy dress outfit, but no, I've had to go and scrounge these from all around the house because they keep wearing them. They want to wear them as everyday wear, and as soon as they tried them on, they're like, oh, these are fabulous. Got really excited. So for a fancy dress outfit, it's done really well because it's made it into their everyday wardrobe, which from a sustainability viewpoint gets a thumbs up from me. So that was that. Yeah, that took me about 2 weeks. Like I say, I hand stitched it. I knitted the shawls from scratch and just basically made it up as I went along. Sorry, I'm squeezing this in a gap while my other half and the children are walking the dog, so I haven't prepared. I've not got a cup of tea handy. I'm just out of practice completely. So the other thing that was keeping me busy and away from podcasting, other than laziness, was that I've been working on a number of designs. Remember the last time I spoke to you, I was just launching the sock pattern that I did in collaboration with Peyton and Daughter. Now that has been my most popular pattern so far, so I am over the moon with that. I think in the first 48 hours it was downloaded over 2,000 times. Admittedly that was, well, it was still free, but you know, it was still popular and people liked it, so I was very happy. Now, this is my pile of swatches and one finished object for my designs. The middle one is going to be for a shawl for, again in collaboration with Peyton and Daughter, and that's going to be a lace shawl. so it will be my first lace design, which will be interesting, but that's looking at coming out around about February time, all being well and hoping I get some test knitters sign up. Now the top design was actually for a design submission that a company were running. It wasn't successful, which was a bit of a shame, but it was my first time actually doing a design submission, so that was quite an interesting process because it involved teaching myself how to convert a hand-drawn design into a digital illustration. So it was a big steep learning curve, but lots and lots of fun. Now I admit I am a bit disappointed that I didn't get through, but like I say, it was my first time actually submitting to a company, but I do have the design, well, the two designs, because there's two here, to actually publish myself now, so nothing's lost. I've got well on the way to another two designs to probably come out some point next year, so that will be fun. And then the bottom one I'm hoping will be out before the end of this year, and this one I really like, because it's just so colourful and fun, and that was just for me, and quite a simple one to release in the run up to Christmas. Obviously we won't have time to knit it before Christmas, but I think I'll be releasing that one as a free pattern because it's quite a straightforward knit, because I like releasing free patterns. I like people knitting them, so yes, all very exciting. Watch this space, new designs coming soon. What else have I been doing? Oh yes, I haven't got it with me, it's upstairs, because I leave my crafting all over the house, much to my other half's annoyance, but never mind. Is a crochet cardigan, and it's the Winter is Coming cardigan. I want to say by Joanna Grace, but I will put it on the screen who the designer is. Now it's a crochet cardigan using 2 strands of DK yarn knitted together. I used, I think I showed you it on the last podcast, but that was the sleeve that I'd had to rip back about 8 times and restart. It has now made it to a cardigan shaped object, and I will insert a picture somewhere around here. But as you'll be able to see from the picture, the sleeves are ridiculously long. It's like I'm Inspector Gadget with extendable arms, but this is because I don't read patterns properly. Oh well, I do. I think, oh yes, I've memorised that bit, I'll just carry on. And then I look back at it and go, oh no, I hadn't memorised it. I'd just made it up as I went along. So the sleeves are about 6 inches too long. So because it's joined at the armpits and then worked in one piece with raglan decreases, I've now got to rip back to where I joined the body and the sleeves, and then rip the sleeves back a good 6 inches, but then sort out my stitch numbers, because 6 inches from the top they won't be wide enough to join the body at the armpit, so I may well end up making both sleeves again almost from scratch. But it's crochet, it works up really quickly. Having said that, that was about 2 days work that I'll be ripping back. But on the plus side, it does mean, because when I'd worked the body and the sleeves and looked at it, I went, oh, I've still got the ribbing to do around the button band, and I don't think I've got enough yarn. But once I've ripped it back and salvaged the 6 inches from each arm, there should be enough to complete the button band, which is good. otherwise I'll be having to try and find a different colour to work the button band in that doesn't look ridiculous. But yes, as it's a while since I did that, I was trying to think. The wool that I used was some Worth Mill yarn from Woolly Knits. That it was the mild, oh no, was it Worth Mill or was it Country Tweed? Countryside Tweed. I'm telling you that because the ball band's on the floor because I'm a scruffy madam. This is one I couldn't read the Crampion is one of the colours, and unhelpfully there's not a second ball band kicking around on the floor, so I'll add the second colourway because I used they're both red, but one's a brighter mild red and the other one's slightly darker mild red, and I've worked them together so it's even more mild. But yes, and I did have to go up one hook size on the ribbon and 2 hook sizes on the body to get gauge, and it's still working up a bit tight. Not the actual material itself, but the cardigan sizing. Now this may be because I cannot admit to myself that my body is the size that it is, so I always end up making a smaller size than I probably need. But as well, the photos of the finished object don't necessarily show the cardigan in its entirety, so it's worked out shorter in the body than I was expecting, but also not as with not as much positive ease as I was expecting. Whether these things will work themselves out once it's blocked, I'm not sure, but it's not something I can wrap over certainly. I think it will just about meet, but it's not got any buttons or anything on, so that's not an issue. But it will be really snuggly, and it's got pockets, which is always a good thing. So yeah, that's that cardigan. Now I'm in a bit of a cardigan knitting mood at the minute. Basically it's because it's cold, I want to knit all the extra cardies and jumpers for myself. So on my needle adjacent projects, I want to knit, let me get my wool. I want to knit a bulky cardigan. So I was just looking at a car pulling up outside the front. I was having a panic that it was either halves coming back already. Yes, I wanted to knit a bulky cardigan because I've had this wool in my stash. I don't know if it's gonna, yeah, it's Curly U. It's again from Woolly Knit. I don't think they actually make this anymore. I'd picked it up out of the bargain bin. Actually, I didn't even get it from Woolly Knit. I got it from the local charity shop. There was 3 of them in the sort of 50p box there, I think. So I picked this up, but I've only got 3 skeins of this. And unhelpfully, on Woolly Knit yarn, it doesn't give you a yardage, so you've just got to guess. Now it's a bit of a thick and thin, super chunky or super bulky, depending on whether you're English or American. So this will be the main body of the cardigan, and I wanted to do the yoke in a different colour, or the top bit in a different colour. So I've got some chunky in a cream. This is Lofty from Woolly Knit, and I knitted a hat in this last year, the year before. It was my Pluonera hat, but I've got about a ball and a half of this left, and I was going to hold it with this hand spun, hold it together to make a bulky or a super chunky yarn. This hand spun was from Magpie and Goblin, and it's a blend of all sorts. There's mohair, there's alpaca, there's corriedale, there's merino. There might be some silk in there. There's some stellina, bit of all sorts. So I thought, yes, those three colours would work nicely together. At the minute, I'm just trying to work out what pattern to use. There aren't any patterns that are jumping out at me straight away, so I think I'm going to bodge something. So I've been looking at patterns to try and get a rough idea of numbers for the cast on, because I'll probably do top down. Now I'd quite like it to be around a yoked cardigan rather than raglan, just because I think it'll look better with a yoke with these held double. It'll look almost like a mock fair isle, I think. But we'll see what I can figure out on Ravelry or some such site. So yes, but when I cast this on, I'm not sure, because obviously coming up to Christmas, so I do have several projects that I want to make a start on for that. Now, nearly every year I go over the top and decide I want to make all the things for all the people and then regret it immediately, because one, I don't have enough time, two, not everybody in my life is appreciative of hand knit items, and three, something always crops up which means I have even less time than I plan to have. So this year I've been quite restrained. I've decided not to make anything from scratch from the children, which I'm finding very difficult, but having made several bits for them recently just for school costumes, I can almost justify it to myself that I'm not making anything for them for Christmas. But I have decided that I am going to make something for my sister-in-law, which is going to be crochet, and I'll talk more about that in the next episode, because I'm sure I'll have started it by then. My brother, who complains about hand knit items, has actually asked for something hand knit, which just makes me laugh. So I've got the wool to make that for him, and I'll talk about all these next time when I've cast them on. And then I've actually got the wool to give to my mum so that she can knit herself a present. Once I've written up the pattern for the colourful shawl that I've been working on, I'm going to give her the yarn and the pattern together, because I love my mum, but I'm very much, I've got some wool, I'll just make up something and knit it. My mum likes to have the wool and a pattern to go with it. She doesn't like having the wool and then thinking, oh, what can I make with this? It's like, I've got the wool, I've got the pattern. Or she'll buy the pattern first and then go get the wool to knit it with. She prefers that to having the wool first. So I thought, if I give her the wool and the pattern, she can make one herself, and it'll be very, I don't know if she'll wear it, but she'll enjoy knitting it. My mum's very much a process knitter, so, and she'll be happy that it's something that I've designed as well, because she was really excited by the socks that I made last time. But my mum doesn't do fair isle knitting, so the socks weren't going to be something that she would knit. So I think this shawl will be something that she can knit while she's watching telly and doing all 1,000,001 jobs around the house and garden and all the other things that she does. So I'm very excited about that, but shh, don't tell my mum. I can tell you because she doesn't watch podcasts, so I'm alright. I think that's it on upcoming knitting projects. I'm just checking out the window again. However, the other thing that I've been working on is an advent calendar, a craft themed advent calendar for me. Now every year when I'm watching the Vlogmases and everything else, I'm looking at people's woolly advent calendars, and I get a bit jealous, a bit of a green-eyed monster. But then I look at how much they cost and go, well, that's way out of my budget. I could never buy these for myself, so I'll just do without. Now, somebody that I'm friends with on Instagram, she does make her own craft advent calendar every year, and I think she often does spinning themed ones. So hello if you're watching, Jennifer. But I'm basically stealing her idea and making my own from what I've already got, but mine's not going to be spinning themed, I don't think. Although having said that, I might add some in, because I found this kit in a charity shop last year. So the quality of the kit's not brilliant, but I quite liked the aesthetic. It's gingham and lace, and it looks quite cute and Christmassy. I'm just trying to think. I've got some worked up already. So the little bags with a number on. I've got bits to go on the end of here, and then they just drawstring. And as you'll notice, this has got something in it already. I decided to go through my sock yarn scraps and pick out 10 grams of, well, roughly 10 grams. There was some that have only got about 8 grams in, and I thought, well, I'll just use those and budget. So what I'm going to do is crochet as many granny squares of a certain size, I think 4 rounds, as I can get out of these scraps, and use them towards a blanket. So I've got, I think, 15 bags worked up so far. So glamorous with my carrier bag. Ever the professional. So yes, ooh, blowing out. The sun must keep going out behind a cloud or peeking out or something. So yes, I've got 15 there, which have got roughly 10 grams of sock yarn in each, and I've got some more, maybe about 4 or 5 more odds and ends of sock yarn that I've got to wind off 10 grams of and put towards my squares, but that will leave me with a few days of the 24 that haven't got yarn, and I didn't want to, because I've got enough of some of them to add another 10 grams in, and like have a repeat day. But I don't think I want to do that. So somewhere in my cupboards, I think it's maybe in this one down here, I have got a box of random dyed bits of roving and fibre back from, probably eight years ago. It was from Countess Ablaze, who has stopped dyeing now, so when she stopped dyeing roving quite a long time ago, but no, it was one of her mystery bargain boxes of some kind, and it's got like 12-gram nests of fibre in lots of different colours and lots of different fibres. So I might, for the last few days that I haven't got sock yarn for, add in some of those, and I can do some spinning as well. I like that. I like that plan. Yes, I might do that. And it'll mix it up a bit as well, because I'm sure once I've done lots of days of crocheted granny squares, I will be wanting a change. I've already got a cheat day in there because one of the I was working out roughly how much sock yarn I needed to do round about 3 squares, to work out how much to put in each of the little bags. So one of my days, it's got already 3 squares worked up. So I'm ahead of myself on that day because I'm sure I will need it, because there is a whole week between the girls breaking up from school and Christmas itself. So how much crafting I'll get actually done on that week is another thing. But this is my plan. Whether it works out, we'll see, because as we know, life has a habit of getting in the way. But yes, I think that's everything. There's probably other stuff that I've been working on, but it's been so long that I've forgotten what I've shown you, what I haven't. Oh, I know. The other project that I was working on last time was the Better World dress, and I'd spun some more yarn for it and I'd worked that into the pattern, but then realised I still didn't have enough to finish it off, so I needed to spin some more. I keep trying it on, and I do love the pattern, but I don't particularly like how it fits. Because I'm not going to have enough at all to make it into a dress, it's only ever going to be a sweater length top, and it hangs a bit too baggy, and yeah, I'm not loving how it's sitting on my body. So I was thinking about ripping it back. I know I spent so long making it, but I think I will actually get more wear and more enjoyment out of it if I rip it back. So the plan is to possibly rip it back to round about where I joined for the armpits, which means that I will be ripping back a good 8 inches. Which is I'm just having a moment here thinking about that. And making the sleeves slightly narrower, because I don't like how they flare if I'm wearing it as a jumper. But the nicest bit for me is the yoke bit. So if I leave that, make the arms slightly narrower, and the body might be quite relaxed fit, but just not triangular and ruffled and everything else. If I rip it back and then just crochet the rest of the body plain or with straight sides and a different texture to the lace work that it's currently got, because I think it's going to be too complicated for me to work out how to imitate the lace work without the increases. Yeah. I don't need to make my life more complicated. So I might keep the yoke fancy and then do the body plain. That way I might also have enough yarn to have longer sleeves, even if they're only 3/4 length. So I think that might be my plan. But the only problem with this is because it's an ombre yarn, it starts off sort of a chartreuse colour, goes through green, darker green, and then into a purple. It might disrupt the colour sequence, which isn't ideal. Sorry, my video got full and now I've hit the wind chime on the windows. That's probably making a ridiculous amount of noise. Yes, so anyway, disrupting the colour sequence isn't ideal, but possibly I might be able to get it to flow on the body, but then the sleeves I might have to do in the extra yarn that I spun up that sort of ties in with the colour sequence. So we shall see, but I'm not planning on doing anything with that for now. I'm just going to leave it and have a think about it. And on that note, seeing as my storage filled up and I probably haven't got that much left now. I've deleted some stuff. I had better say goodbye. Thank you very much for sitting through this garbled hot mess, and hopefully next time it won't be as long, that in between, and I will be slightly more professional organised. Alright then, I will speak to you soon. Happy crafting.